Hi everyone, welcome back to Maine Tiny Homestead. There's a lot going on in the garden this week. It's the middle of July and things are really blooming. Come on, let's check it out. Well, I had to move a few things around in the garden because we had some things getting really tall and other things weren't getting as much light. And I think I was telling you about that in the last video. But I had these two buckets behind this bed, and as you can see, these things are getting pretty tall, so I had to move these buckets out front. So what we have here in this one is our onions, and then we have some bush beans in this one. So what we did last time is I cut half this chamomile plant down so this oregano could get some sunlight. So look at the height difference between these two. Look how tall this chamomile is, and then look how much I cut it back. So what I decided to do is I'm going to cut it in thirds. Last week I cut this down. This week I'm going to cut this other end down, and then next week I'll cut the middle. And by then, hopefully this side will start having blooms coming up, because it looks like some of them are starting already. And then I'll keep the pollinators going. So I didn't want to cut everything at once, but it is getting kind of unruly and blocking a lot of sun. So I'll have to keep that in mind for next year. Because what was happening, I had my 3 little oregano plants over here weren't getting any sun at all. So now that I have moved all of that around, you can see that they're getting some sun. And I also am trying to contain them so they don't spread. So what I'm doing is I'm forcing these to grow up. So I just put this little fence all the way around it. And then I'm just forcing these to grow tall so that they're not actually touching the ground anymore. So then they won't root. So that's an experiment. We'll see how that works out. But geez, look at this basil. It's out of control. So I'm going to be taking some more bunches off of that today. I'm going to trim some of the onion parts. And then look at this morning glory just growing up. It's trained itself all the way to get to the top of the arbor, so that's pretty exciting. Now this other one, I think this is a late bloomer one. That one's just starting to go around itself, so that one's doing well. And then what I also did last week is, because it was really supposed to be hot, is we got some of this straw to put in the blueberry bed, so that we try to keep some of that moisture inside. And it worked pretty good, because now the blueberries are starting to turn colors, if you can see. Got some bluish starting on those, so maybe by next week we'll be picking blueberries out of this bush. That would be awesome. So now let's go over to the crazy bed. That's what I'm calling it this year. These are the potatoes. Now, yesterday when I came in here, they're just so tall. This poor eggplant can't get any sun, so I was trying to push them over to see if they'll grow this way instead. And they seem to take that okay, because now they're still growing sideways but up. But at least they're not blocking as much sun as they were yesterday. So that happened to work out good. Let me just make sure they didn't crowd over here. Okay, good. So that fence is working. So that's actually going to work out, because I have onions on this side of the potatoes. This whole side of the bed is just a total experiment. But here's my real pride and joy. Look at these cherry tomatoes. They're off the chart. They're 5 feet tall in the bed. So I have to stand in there, and then it's just about over my head, because those who know me know I'm pretty darn short. So, and we got some fruit starting to turn color. If you can see those. Oh, how exciting. Both of these are sun gold cherry tomatoes. So that's the color that they're going to be when they ripen up. So pretty excited to see how tall that is. The one bad thing I got to try to figure out today is I only have this one small little green stake. See that? I have one of those on each tomato plant. I didn't want to use a cage in this bed because it's just too big. And these are small beds. So what I tried to do was tie the stalks onto itself and grow them up tall, and then see if they can create their own stability. Oops. Sorry about that. I just tripped over a big block of wood back here. So what I'm doing today is I'm going to tie them off together at the top there. I did once, but man, it looks like they grew a foot in the last few days, so that they have stability onto itself. And we're just going to see how that works and hope we don't get a windstorm that blows them over. That's all I can hope for. But wow, I'm pretty pleased on how everything is going so far. I'm getting real excited about these potatoes because this is my first time growing them. So they're looking pretty darn fabulous. And then last time I saved some seeds from my chives, and I'm going to be doing that with all my plants this year. Usually it's just my garlic, but I'll try seed saving with everything and keep you informed on how that all goes. And let's take a look at my garlic. I chopped off the garlic scapes last week, and these are almost getting ready. I like the bottom two leaves to turn yellow before I start harvesting. So we got a little bit to go because this is the first one, and that one's already turned as an example. This would be the second one, and it's starting to turn. So when that gets all the way down, probably another couple of weeks, usually the first week in August, I will pick these. Last year, I waited till the second week, and it was a little too long to wait. So I think 2 more weeks and these will be ready. And then we will, I'll do a whole video just on harvesting and drying the garlic because it's a big process into itself, but pretty rewarding. I haven't purchased garlic in 7 years. I got my first set of bulbs from an organic farm at the farmer's market up here in Maine. And ever since then, I saved a few of those cloves and planted all of them. And then ever since then, I've had enough to grow my own. And we do about 72 to 81 bulbs a year because I'm only dedicating a half a bed a year to it. So I think this is the most I've crammed into a bed. I have 72 this year. I think I only did 68 last year. But I got 72 crammed in here this year. So all of these stalks looks pretty good. If you can see the thickness of all of these. I don't see too many that are thin. And it looks like I could have got another whole row in here as well, but I saved it. And I planted a row of onions in between, if you can see that. I don't know how they're going to do because they look kind of close together. But that's just an experiment. I'm doing a lot of experiments this year just to see how things are going to go. But a lot grew in a few days, so I have a lot of taming to do with these 2 cherry tomato plants. That's why I only grow 2, because they really get big and I don't have space for any more than that. So, and these blueberries look awesome, so super excited. Lots going on in the garden this weekend. Thanks again for watching Maine Tiny Homestead.